Well, I went snoozies for a while there, and it's about 8:10 again. Rain stopped for a few minutes, and just started up again, and off we go. So, we did have some pretty hard winds at one point there. I was a little bit worried about the old roof sheets from the veranda out there. But I got heaps of rocks on them, so they should be alright, but that's something that's going to have to be moved and dealt with or whatever. They're currently pooling up with water. See if we can see this. There they are out there with all the rocks on them. Old blooming battery box is also pooling up with water. That's what it usually does anyway. Seems as though the roof is working pretty good. You might be able to, yeah, you can see all the drips coming off the end of it there. The little dots in it are all the holes from their previous use that are all filled by silicon. By hell, there's a few holes in these. One or two here. Anyway. I guess we're stuck to doing inside stuff, which would mean more cleaning all of the house. I was hoping to put stuff, I was going to do it yesterday, didn't happen, put stuff in the front veranda here, but that's not going to be happening with all this sort of rain. But having said that, we'll just continue on with cleaning out what we can clean out, and I'll try and do the washing as well, and probably get the fire cranked up in the bedroom to dry the washing. And sharpening that up, sort of coming out pretty good actually. Still a few little chinks and stuff in it where it's been stuffed up before. You might see little scratch marks there. Try to get off the rusted stuff. I've got this stuff, I think it's, never mind, it's based on a certain cleaning chemical that I used previously, without going into detail, and it gets rust stains off stainless steel. I should have used that probably instead of scratching all that side up there, and I might use a bit of that on it later. It's pretty powerful shit. I was just thinking about an old tabby cat and the bird. I don't know if he got it or not because I can't really see it. It's starting to rain again. I walked all out around there. While it wasn't raining, I got all the sawhorse and a few other bits and pieces in the front veranda there. Refueled the generator, which was surprisingly low. I don't know how it didn't stall when I was cutting the wood because it was that low. Just doing the washing now, but I was trying to work out that bird hadn't been annoying him for 2 years because he's not even 2 years old, so that doesn't even make any sense. It was before he got spayed, and he got spayed in September or October last year, so that's more than 6 months since he's been spayed. So this bird's been annoying him for probably 9 or 10 months at least. I really can't find any feathers, so I don't know if he got it or not, or he just sort of, you know, ate it whole and left nothing behind, or what, because it's a small sort of bird. But there's a couple of them, and there's one of them I seen this morning flying down to a Peruvian pepper tree down there, which you guys may also know as a Californian pepper tree. And yeah, so of course one of them's alive because there was at least two that keep hassling the cats. But I think if that one did get away, he might change his tack quite a bit because yeah, he would have just got away just barely with his life, and he probably would have stretched muscles in the thing's wings and would be feeling a bit sorry for itself today if it survived at all, which I doubt it did because both cats were out there. There's a tendency that Black Kitty's got. She'll hang around when Tabby Cat's got something, and if Tabby Cat lets go of it accidentally, then she'll grab it. So she's always hanging around when he's got something in case he lets go of it or stuffs around with it or gets sick of it or whatever, then she'll tack it. And she'll be following him around as a result. Anyway, just doing the washing now, and I'll probably fire up the wood heater and try and dry things out. I've been bringing a bit of wood inside into steel 5-gallon buckets to dry some of that out for use later. I got my finger over the microphone and you can probably still hear the roar of the trees. Just going through something here. A little bit of a secret stash of shit here. Keep your eyes peeled because you're not likely to see this shit on a regular basis. This here is a battery inside. I don't know if I've taken it out or not. Seems a lot of my batteries here are gone friggin' acidic and turned to shit. That's a phone tap. I shit you not. This here did have neodymium magnets stuck on there, but I've taken off. It's a car tracker. Lets out a signal on the FM band just below the standard FM band, and you can basically use it with a signal strength meter to hone in on vehicles and shit like that. This is no big deal. This is basically just a small amplifying system. Allows you to hear some stuff that you wouldn't otherwise hear. All it is basically a microphone that amplifies and goes out to speakers. These are good. I've got a whole bunch of these on the cheap. You whistle and it starts beeping when you whistle. Put them on your key ring. I probably should hook these onto a few more things. Yeah. That would be an actual field strength meter to help you work out things related to signal strength of what's his names, radio transmissions. I'm not entirely sure what that is down there, but it's probably some sort of a bug related thing or something like that. Bug finder. Whatever the hell it's... that's also a field strength meter of a different type. This is your good shit. Actually, this is the best one I've got. Pretty botchy soldering from years back. Microphone. Couple of surface mounts in the bottom there. It's a wonder they survived my bad soldering. Can you work out what that is? Here's another one. It is super simple, runs off a battery cell that also has surface mounts, little button cell, which I don't have in there at the moment. Yep, this one here is brilliant. It transmits at least a quarter mile. You can actually adjust the transmission using the variable capacitor there, like you can adjust what band it transmits to. And it's a piezo, set up as a microphone, and you got blue tack and you stick that to the window and you can hear what people are saying through fucking windows. Yes, on the other side of the window, inside the building, you can hear what they're talking about inside while you're outside sticking that on the window. And that will transmit at least a quarter mile, supposed to transmit almost to a half a mile. Here's a couple of other basic ones. These are shits of things because they stuff up with your body capacitance.
So they're not as good as they seem. I am not entirely certain what that even is. It may be another longer range one, that obviously uses a little bit more battery power. These here, these are out of whack or something. I got these off the internet. They're actually watches that transmit CB signals, except you can't actually pick them up on any of the bloody CB channels, so useless as tits on a bull. And that would be another 9-volt bug with a couple of surface mounts. I'm surprised how many I've got with surface mounts here. Anyway, that's the earphones for them, and you're just talking to the microphone, which is based under there, and you get a bunch of button cell batteries which are all gone acidic. Anyway, that's the sort of shit you don't find every day. I've got manuals that I'm not going to show, which explain a whole bunch of different circuits, including these circuits and other circuits. And that, I don't know what's going on there. Might be half-built one or something. Just thought I'd let you have a little glimpse at some of me things I used to have from a few years back. Before I destroy this, might as well show you this steel. Not a very successful design because this plastic pipe, the heat conductivity is fucking horseshit. Anyway, that point there went out of a bucket through the top hole there, and that point there also went out of the bucket from the bottom hole. You need to have cold water in this, obviously. I had a biscuit tin lid, you might be able to see it there, red thing, and there's a bit of copper pipe soldered on. It would jam into the vinyl pipe here. This is a bit of edging for plastering. That goes on your plasterboard, gets held on with a staple gun, and then you plaster over the top of that with the bog. It's to make your corners stronger and not crumble in your house. Anyway, bits of wire were soldered on to that, and then sort of evenly spaced out to keep this in a downward spiral with these looped around. Anyway, I put this bit of a thing on the bottom here, shitstorm of bull wire, to sort of give it a bit of 3 feet to prop itself up. And yeah, anyway, I'll get on and wreck this because it's basically no good anyway, it's just taking up room. Alright, there may be shit there. We are moving surprisingly well, sweeping all this out as we go. And I might have to get in there and snip that grass out and stuff hanging over there. I don't know how it even grows up there. But there's something very important that I found on the ground. Care and use instruction. Thank you for purchasing this travel mug. Care and use. Do not exceed the product capacity. Hot drinks may scald the user. That's right. I never fucking knew that, but what do you know? Let's sit down and concentrate on this. See, it's a bit of a trouble. If I didn't have instructions for a cup, heaven knows what I'd do. You know, I might scold myself. Holy cow, has the world got this fucking crazy? Like, honestly, how ridiculous is shit getting? Reminds me of that song, A Life Without Warnings. Yeah. Alright, got a few potatoes on the cheap. My mum told me about them. Come from South Australia. you think, well, hell, you know, I'm not too far from a potato growing region here. Down the road from my other property, before I used to turn off and go about, like about 5 miles up this road to get to my property. At the corner of that road, they used to grow potatoes. And there's another area not terribly far from me that is renowned for potato growing, and you can just see, you go for fucking miles and there's one potato crop after the other. Anyway, in effect, because of British heritage of eating a lot of potatoes, these are like the corn of the United States. They're cheap and there's a lot of it consumed. Why would they bring it from the other state? Well, the manager for Chinese Boss's Vineyard was a Hungarian guy, and in the north west of the state there's a place called Mildura that has for years grown a lot of grapes, and you know, sultanas, raisins, they do the whole lot, and a lot of citrus too. Ever since the Californian oranges have been imported and we've had the odd bad year, and since 2009 they started tightening up things to do with water allocations, and they grow a high level of oranges, but they're all small and they literally end up feeding them to fucking cows. Terribly sweet, but just not big enough. And nothing wrong with them, just the size. And a lot of those joints are torn out, grapevines, ripped out orange trees, and all that. But further down the river, and because it's so far in the northwest, it's very close to the border, on that same river, it's another state. And, you know, you only got to drive, another what, 20, 30 miles and you cross the border. And to the west and across the border to the north, it's literally you're sitting on the border because the river is the border. To head into New South Wales, which is the north, and yet you go to the west and you're in South Australia. And they pump out of the same river and grow potatoes on a big scheme. Now, on a big scale. What I was saying about the Chinese Boss's Vineyard, his manager is a Hungarian guy who used to come from that area of South Australia, and one of his jobs was potatoes, and they used to irrigate this massive area for potatoes. And he said they'd be there, he'd be there during the potato harvest, obviously, because he worked there full time. And he said they're bringing in B-double trucks, which is basically a tip truck, and then a trailer that's the same size as the tipper. And he said they bought in, like these things would drive in, and there'd be like frickin' 12 or 18 of these trucks filling up a day with potatoes. And he used to think, where are all these fucking potatoes going to? Well, there's the answer. A lot of those contracts would have been filled out for McDonald's and all those sort of places as well. But I seen them the other day. It was $8 for 2 kilos. 2 kilos is about 4.5 pounds or close to it. This is 5 kilos, which is about, what are we looking at, about 11 pounds, maybe a touch over 11 pounds. $2. Generally, I only go for ones at about $2 a kilo, but I have seen ones that, as I said, have been over $4 a kilo, and these are less than $1 a kilo. I bought them for 44 cents a kilo once, and these, I think, are less than 44 cents a kilo, or maybe around that price. But 5 kilos for $2. That means it basically, in effect, on normal prices, they're either $1 to $2 a kilo as normal prices. So I could get either 2 kilos or 1 kilo, and for that price, I've got 5 kilos. That's pretty good. That is probably the cheapest I've ever bought them. The ones that were 44 cents a kilo were nearing, well, I think they were getting close to a use-by date or something like that. They were the last few of a big bunch. So, but yeah, I've got 25 kilos, which is basically 55 pounds or something like that, maybe 57 pounds worth. And I can't fit them all in my normal container. So I'm going to have to eat a few today and probably throw some in a cardboard box, because I can't really get the lid on the garbage bin that I usually have them in. I sort of set the lid upside down to protect them from light, but also because the lid is ribbed at the top, the ribs allow any evaporation to occur between the ribs, but as you can see, it ain't really fitting on upside down, and I'm not putting it the right way up because then it'll swelter and then they'll all just stink like fuck and go rotten on me. Anyway, firing up the wood heater here. There's your gauge of how much wood you got. The little gap in the back there, that's a damper that you can put in and pull out, and if you put it in, you smoke the fucking kitchen out. I don't know why they built a damper up there. Some do have a damper at the exit. Most only have a damper at the entrance. There's some that are different though, like my sister's wood heater will recirculate around, and the recirculate bit has got its own damper as well as the incoming air piece, which is odd, but I'll tell you what, I don't have any success with using that damper, so the thing always remains out, and then as a result you get a little gap where it slips in, and judging by the amount of flames there gives you a good indication of when you need to actually refill with wood. And when you only see the odd flame flicking up, then it's about time to reload. And if you see no flames flicking up and you just see a bit of a glow through there, then you desperately got to reload before it's going to go out. So anyway, I think I'll get to boiling some of these after I might fry eggs, I might boil eggs, got to think about it. But anyway, that's only just fired up a couple of minutes ago, so you got to sort of run through your initial. It takes so much to run that hot plate because, as you can see, it's thicker than the rest of the top. That you got to run through your initial lighting, which will be just a lot of friggin' little sticks and newspaper, and then those sticks will turn to your red embers and coals, whatever, in the bottom, and then I'll throw in some other smaller stuff, like, you know, smallish stuff, maybe sort of, you know, 2-3 inches in diameter, and then that'll be technically the second load, and then it starts to warm the hot plate up to the point that you can actually realistically start cooking stuff on it. Okay, well, in between intermittent rain, we've sort of got rolling. I've moved a whole heap of treated pine stuff that's sitting on top of a bunch of this crap, basically, and I've brought up a whole load of this. But just a second, try and work out how long this is to that mark there. I just stuck this in the wood stove, and I've got a basic, I've never really checked it out for sure, but I've got a basic length of, holy fucking cow, nearly 23 inches. Pretty much 23 inches long. I can cut pieces to stick in the stove. So there you go. It's getting close to 2 foot long bits of wood that can fit in that stove. Now, of course, you know, that's so long as the, I think there's still a few coals in there when I put it in there. Yeah, it was still warm anyway, but not really any flames. So if I go for about 20-inch mark, I reckon I should fit just about everything in. Might go less, 18, 19, maybe 19 or something. Anyway, that gives me a bit of an idea of how long I can cut the wood to be able to fit it in this wood stove and burn all this stuff out. This whole pack's sat down there, and I realise as I'm taking this apart, there is bloody sawdust all through it from when it was originally milled, not from where I've cut it in parts with a chainsaw, but from even the stuff underneath the other pack of treated pine, thick bloody 1-inch treated pine planks. It's all flipping sawdust all through it. So they've cut this stuff and thrown it straight on the pack without any real, you know, dust extraction, sawdust extraction or anything like that to get rid of it all. And some of it is worse than this, but it's quite obviously rough sawn. Shit's all sort of, it's not smooth. And you got jagged bits. This is a dead giveaway. When you get to the corners, you got these jagged bits that stick up. It's all rough sawn. Sometimes what you'll see is actual like these circular marks And it's where the giant circular saw that it's been fed through at the sawmill has cut its way through, so you get like all these slightly... And you see it more on the bigger planks because like your arc of the circular saw is more obvious over a wider plank than a thinner one, like over a bloody, 6-inch wide plank as opposed to whatever the hell this is, which I think is about 1.5 inch plank. But anyway, I might show you what we've got. It's a pack I've brought in so far. There's a bit of it that's just going to have to go on the bonfire. Good thing is it's easier to snap off the lengths because they go rotten in parts, and then you just give it a thump with your foot and just cracks straight off. And sometimes you just grab it with your arm and just lever it up and it just snap right where it just starts to rot. So you end up with a little bit of partly rotten but still strong enough stuff at the end, because where it's completely rotten it just cracks straight off. So it keeps bloody raining on and off as it is right now, and as you can probably tell, rain drips down on all these. But yeah, at some point I'll start cutting all this up. I want to get rid of all this because honestly the whole lot is just going to go rotten, and it's like there's no shortage of kindling, and our white car out there, that's got a bunch of kindling in it from actual decking planks, which are like 2.5 inches wide, and I've been grabbing out of that for a long time now, and all last year I was grabbing more of this, but yeah, I want to just try and cut up a good majority of this, probably 80%, and just jam it through the wood stove, and then the other 20% I'll keep as kindling, because it's not like I'm short of kindling or anything like that. And I may do what I done last time, because I've got 3, just trying to get out of the wind here, I've got 3, there's at least 3 suitcases that are empty, and originally I used to actually keep kindling in suitcases in there, and what I didn't have in buckets I managed to fit in suitcases and keep it in the dunny. And I've got those 3 suitcases sitting basically under my solar panel system for the house at the moment. They were sitting under the front veranda, so I might cut up some and stuff it into there, and probably put some more on the front veranda as well. I don't really think any of this is affected by borer, so we should be pretty right to do that. I just got rid of a bunch of it off the front veranda, but it's sort of scattered, sort of just poured in there initially as a big pile, so I might deliberately, if I put some of this in, I'll try and stack it and sort of stack it neat so it doesn't just turn into a whole friggin' shitstorm sprayed all over the floor of the veranda like the last lot did. It's, anyway, we also got to go and plant out that oriental spinach. I was supposed to do that last night, pull the seeds out of the fridge, and so I'll go and probably should do that now and just get those in soil. Yeah. What are you doing, door knocker? You love nosing around whatever you've been doing in the hope that there might be some stuff that other sheep haven't been game to get, or that you might have left behind, like figs you might have been picking or something like that. Anyway, this is the last of what's left. It used to be stacked up around here somewhere. It used to be blooming 18 inches tall at least, probably more around here. And yeah, just a lot of rotten shit. I just cut all this in half with a reciprocating saw so I can get some of these lengths on. Should be able to get all of this on that's not rotten. Try and handle what is rotten and get it over to the heap of rotten shit. This is what I've stacked up before. By the way, you can't hear it, but I can. My father's got the loader going again. The loader backhoe with a friggin', what is it, 22.6 foot boom on the back. Big bastard. Finally got all that sorted out and rechecked the other wheel bearing to see if it was alright, and they had a Bit of a circus trying to bleed they got the injector on, but it's not the standard way of bleeding it. And they ran the battery flat trying to start it the first time. So he's recharged that and took the other wheel off and checked out the other wheel bearing. All was fine. Put the wheel back on, topped all the oil up and all that business. And he went and got more fuel, but he's just given it another run now. Ran surprisingly smooth for something that hasn't ran for damn near 3 years. Anyway, this treated stuff. So I restacked all this because it was over here, where you can see. This is a tendency, this is all your little thistle flower heads, and you have a tendency for those to build up under things that sit in the same space for a long time. They blow under there and don't sort of come back out. There's a whole head, although that's a rather small one that never developed any seeds. So all these here were coming out to about here, and I got all those off, and then I could get the rest of these, which had ended sort of about here-ish or something, somewhere here anyway. But they're overlapping those by about 1.5 to 2 foot. These were overlapping them by about 2 foot, and all the longer ones that were hanging right back here, sort of taking those around. So I've only got sort of these ones. I think when the pack went down, there was 2 lots of length. There was probably a length that was about 4 foot shorter than the other stuff, and this is like 20% of it was 4 foot shorter than the rest of it. And this is the remaining stuff on the bottom, which obviously is more rotten because it's pretty much been sitting on the ground. There's the thing they set it on, which is basically dirt's right up against the bloody original bearer that they dumped this one down on. So, oh, actually that would have had the steel strapping on it by the looks. So yeah. Anyway, shall continue on.